In 5, 4. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to AXA Coral Live. It's really wonderful to have you with us for this coral adventure live lesson. I'm on a tropical island called Curacao, and it's my great delight to welcome Josh and Steve, two coral explorers, to Coral Live. What we're going to do today together is to find out how we explore underwater. And the reason why we're on a coral reef, which is one of the habitats, one of the places you can find underwater, is that a coral reef has the most amount of different living things on it compared to any other place underwater. Now, we're going to give some very big shout outs to some of the classes who are watching. First of all, it's a big welcome to Year 2 Healy class at Western Mill. Good morning, everybody there. We also have David Attenborough and Marcus Rashford classes at Lavender Primary School. Hi to everyone at Lavender Primary School. And it's hi to everybody in Squirrel's class and they're at Shatterhat Primary. Hi Squirrel's class! Now, to do some really important things before, I think Josh, you're going to be exploring underwater for us today, filming as you go so we can see the amazing world. But there's some very important things we need to learn before we go underwater. Now, you're going to have to do this with us too. So the first thing we're going to try and do is speak underwater. Have you tried to speak underwater, Steve? So instead of speaking underwater, I think we use a series of signs. So, are you ready, everybody? I can see most of you are ready. Tom's definitely ready. So let's go. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at some dive signs, and then we're going to put them together, maybe in a bit of a dance.
Dive dance. Sounds good to me. Love it.
Okay, so all together, we're going to first do the sign for go up.
I think we remember that one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, big sign for go up. It's a thumbs up. And then go down.
Ooh.
Okay, everybody going down. Going deeper underwater. Should we get everybody to turn around now?
I think we should. Yeah, not too deep.
Let's turn around and see what we can see. Time to stop.
Oh.
Stop! Which way should we go now?
Ooh.
This way
Go this way.
or this way?
Ooh.
This way or this way? I think it's time to slow down, everyone. One hand or two hands to slow down. Are you okay, Josh?
I'm okay. Thanks, Jamie.
Are you okay, Steve?
I'm okay, Jamie.
Something wrong underwater. When there's something wrong underwater, you can also point to it. What are some of the things that can go wrong underwater?
Our masks.
So you can't see underwater. And also anything else that sometimes goes wrong underwater? Get cold. That sounds funny. We're on a tropical island. Does it get cold when you go deep?
Yeah, if you're in the water for a long time, you still get cold.
Okay, and then time to head back. We're going to use this sign that shows you've got about half your air left. So time to go back. How did you get on? What we're going to do now, we've been through those. Think about just a couple more, and then we're going to try and put them together in a bit of a sequence. We'll practice together with you, and then we'll do one dive signs dance You can do it sitting down, or you can do it standing up. We'll let you get ready. Fantastic. You're looking really ready. Fantastic coral explorers in the making. So, first of all, we're going to make sure everyone's okay. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go down.
Let's go down.
Which way? Which way? Which way? Stop.
Ooh.
I've got a little special introduction now. There's a shark!
Ah!
Time to head back! Go up! Okay.
Okay.
Whew! Let's try that one more time.
Okay, that was exciting.
Okay.
Okay.
Go down.
Go down.
Which way?
Which way?
Which way?
Which way?
Stop!
Stop.
Look!
Look.
It's a shark!
Shark.
Time to head back! Go up.
Go up.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we do that one more time? Should we
One
do that
more.
one more time? One more time,
time.
just to get it perfect. Then we'll introduce you to some of the kit we use underwater. We ready?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Go down.
Go down.
Which way?
Which way?
Which way?
Which way?
Stop!
Stop.
There's a
There's a
shark! Time to head back. Go up.
Go up.
Okay.
Okay.
Whew.
Wow. What a dive.
You are amazing. Big round of applause for all the classes. Woo!
Great diving.
You are absolutely amazing. All those classes watching. I saw some fantastic work. What we're going to look at now before Josh goes and explores for us is some of the kit that he uses. Josh, what have you got to show us?
So, to begin with, I have got these. These are my fins, and my fins help me swim underwater just like a fish. So I'd use these fins to go up and down and propel me and push me through the water. So, the next thing I will show you is my air tank. Very important piece of kit. This helps me breathe underwater just like a fish and the other creatures that live underwater as well. When I turn this round, I have this. This is my BCD, and it works just like your inflation bands or inflation vest, and it helps you go up or it helps you go down in the water. The BCD has lots of little bits coming off it that are all very important. This lets me know how much of the gas in my air tank is actually in my vest and available for me to breathe. I have these, which are very important. And these help me breathe the air that is in my gas tank into my lungs and keep me underwater for a long time. I also have this that you might notice, and this is my spare tube that helps me breathe underwater. And I also have buddies underwater that I need to look after. So if they are out of air, I can give them the air tank and they can breathe as well. Now, a very important piece of the BCD is this. Now, this little button helps fill the vest with air and make me go up, or I can press this button on the top and it makes me go down again. Now, two other very important pieces of kit I have with me are these. This mask helps me look underwater, and without this mask, I wouldn't be able to see the magnificent creatures that are there underwater, like the fish and the corals. So this is a very important piece of equipment. Lastly, but not least, is this, and this is my snorkel. And my snorkel also helps me breathe underwater, but only when I'm at the surface. So when I've gone up and I'm at the top, this helps me breathe underwater.
Ah.
And that is all the equipment you need to enjoy the underwater world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Josh. That's amazing. I think you're putting this kit on now and you're heading off do you have a camera with you
I
so that
do
you
have
can
a
show
camera.
us the underwater world?
This will help us
Absolutely
see.
fantastic. And is that just a normal camera in there?
Inside here, we've got a completely normal camera. There we go. But we've got a special box we can put it in, which is waterproof, completely waterproof. So we can take that underwater. Now we can use the camera, or we can make videos, and Josh will be able to show us with the camera what he can find on his dive.
That's
Thanks, Steve.
absolutely brilliant. Josh, do you need some help putting this on?
I may need a little bit of help.
Steve and Josh are now going to get ready to go and make a video and film underwater. You will be able to see that on your screens. And what we're going to do now is introduce you, show you some of the amazing living things on the reef. Some of you may have a special sheet with you to tick off different creatures that you may see. Now I'm just going to go through some of those different pictures. You may have on screen some different types of coral. Coral look a bit like plants living underwater, but in fact they're animals. And different shapes of coral are given different names. Some of the coral may look a bit like a brain. We call that brain coral. Some of the coral may look like the horns of an animal with all the different branches. We call these corals by different names depending on the shape. Here, we're going to look for some Elkhorn Coral. There are also some amazing different animals and fish we'll talk about in just a moment, but I can see Josh is just about to head off now. And so, are we all ready to wave him goodbye? He might need a hand to get him over the edge. Bye, Josh. There we go. The air tanks are really, really heavy. They have to be made of very strong metal to contain lots and lots of squashed air. Everybody giving him a wave. Steve, one of the things that Josh might see on his dive is a sponge, and that's one of the animals that's on the sheet. I'm used to using that in the shower, but is a sponge actually an animal?
A sponge is an amazing animal. They can grow in lots of different shapes. So some are huge barrels made of sponge. Some of them are these long tubes that stick up out of the reef. But all of the sponges are animals that suck in the water, all the seawater, and then inside the coral animal, they take anything that's good, any food, any good nutrients in the water, and then they blow out the wastewater. So they're basically like a massive filter with the water going through them, and they pump gallons or litres of water every day.
So
they're amazing.
So taking all that water food and taking little bits of food out of the ocean. We've also got 3 different types of fish that students may see. Well, they might see lots of different fish,
There's
but
lots of fish there.
3 different types that we want you to be sort of looking out for. And we have a lionfish.
Oh, yes.
I can see in the photograph that they have on their student sheet that it's got lots of spines on it.
That's right. So lionfish, they hang in the water. They don't move. And they've got these huge spines. This is the diver signal for a lionfish.
Okay.
So you can see all the spines sticking out. And they're black and white stripy spines. They're really poisonous spines. So you have to be careful with the lionfish. But they're basically just hanging there waiting for something to come too close. And then they'll grab it.
Bye,
Is
Josh.
Going in?
Have a great dive. See you
Can't wait
soon.
to see what you see, Josh. There he goes.
And there he goes.
Wow.
We'll have the video coming through very shortly, but before that, there's two other fishes that the classes will have on their sheet. One of them is a parrotfish.
Oh, okay. So,
Why does a parrotfish get its name? Why is it called a parrotfish?
well, probably for 3 different reasons. Okay, if you think of a parrot, it's brightly
Yeah.
coloured. Really beautiful, bright colours, blues, greens, yellows. They also have a beak, and the teeth on a parrotfish have all joined together to make a beak that they can then use to scrape away at the seaweed, because they eat the seaweed on the reef.
Okay.
And the last thing that really helps you know is that they don't swim with their tail, they swim with their pectoral fins, so they look like they're flying. So that's why we call them a parrotfish.
And then the last, but by no means least, fish on the check sheet is a surgeonfish.
Yeah. So surgeonfish are also herbivores. That means they eat the seaweeds. They eat plants. So like a
Okay.
cow or like a sheep. And on the back of their tail, they've got 2 little spines that are really sharp.
Okay.
And they use those when they're fighting, or if they're being attacked, they pull out these big spines, and they're as sharp as the knife that a surgeon uses. So we call them surgeonfish.
And a surgeon is a type of doctor who does operations, and so those sharp bits are just like what that kind of doctor does. Now, Steve, I believe you're going next to the
Ooh.
screen now.
We can see what Josh
and
can see, can we now?
We can see what Josh can
Excellent.
see,
Okay.
and just talk through
Mm.
as Steve guides you through what you're seeing on the reef. See if you can tick off all 6 of those living things. Your teachers or adults will help you do that, and Steve will also tell you maybe some of the other things you can spot as Josh goes out to explore underwater.
So let's see. Oh, look at this. We're connected to Josh now. Look at this. So he's in fairly shallow water still here. He's just swimming out through the bay, and he's coming up to some old coral, but living on top of it, we've got a huge sponge. Look at that sponge. So, oh, and it's got a damselfish, the black and white fish, living inside it. Look, can you see? There it goes, down into the bottom of the sponge. They make that sponge their home. It's a really safe place to live. So that sponge is like a vacuum cleaner, sucking up the water. Oh, just a parrotfish. Hopefully we see some more parrotfish on the dive. Wow, so you could see the barrel sponge. That was the first of the sponges that we've been able to see. And it's really hoovering all the water, picking out any food that's floating around in the water so that it can grow its skeleton. And sponges live for hundreds of years. Some of the sponges can be as big as a person, as big as your teacher. Imagine that. So let's see what Josh can find now. Okay, so he's going down the side of the reef now. It's getting a bit darker. And can you see that he's found a brain coral? So this is a coral that looks like a brain. It's got lots of little grooves in the coral, which mean that it's got a really big area. And can you see that all of the coral is facing upwards? So it's facing up to try and catch the sunlight. Because inside the coral is a kind of animal, but inside the coral are plants that take the sunlight and use that to make energy. And they give the energy to the coral. So let's see what Josh is going to find next. He's going down a bit deeper now, so it's probably getting a bit cooler. Aha! He's found a parrotfish. Now let's see if this parrotfish goes and eats any seaweed. It's heading down with its head down to the reef, and look, there it goes. So the parrotfish is chewing on the seaweed, and on a coral reef that's really important because the seaweed can grow too much, and then the corals can't have any sunlight. So the parrotfish are really important at keeping the seaweed away. So that you can see how that parrotfish is swimming through. So I wonder what Josh is going to do. We saw him, he was getting a bit deeper, so it's probably getting a bit colder. That's why he's got his wetsuit on, to keep him warm. And it's probably also getting a bit darker, a bit bluer. So let's see what Josh can find for us now. Okay, he's coming up to the edge of, it looks like a bit of a cliff. Looks like he's about to fly over the edge of a cliff here. And he has found, what have we got here? Aha! We've got the other fish that Jamie was just telling us about, the surgeonfish. So the surgeonfish is also, can you see it's eating the seaweed? This is another kind of fish that's really important on a coral reef for stopping the seaweeds growing too fast and making space for all the corals to grow. And can you see there's a coral that's right next to the surgeonfish? Now, where's that surgeonfish swimming off to? Swimming off towards the edge of the reef by the look of it. So I wonder if Josh is going to take us in that direction. Ah, look what the surgeonfish has brought us to. Now, here's another sponge, a massive sponge. Did you see all those different big tubes of sponge sticking up? Now what have we got? We've still got our surgeonfish right in the middle. And behind it, oh, there's another fish. It's called a porkfish, this one. And it's called a porkfish because it looks a bit like someone's picked it up with some tongs on a barbecue. But what's our surgeonfish doing? Is our surgeonfish, I think, can you see those little yellow fish next to the surgeonfish? That surgeonfish is stopped to have a clean. So when we clean our teeth, we can get rid of anything that's not very nice in our mouth. And when a surgeonfish stops with those yellow fish, the yellow fish come and clean the outside of our surgeonfish. Now the surgeonfish has taken us to now that parrotfish isn't dead, is it? That parrotfish is just lying there, probably trying to digest its breakfast. It's got a big belly full of seaweed, and it's just staying quite still, quite camouflaged. You can't see it very well. Aha, but it's just swam off now to go and find some more food. Wow, Josh is having a great dive. What do you think he's going to find next? Oh, he's gone down over the side of the wall now, so we're going deeper again. What's Josh going to find? Oh, lots of bluefish. These are called Creole Wrasse, and they swim along the edge of the wall, like you might see seagulls flying along the side of a cliff. And they're looking for any food that's in the water that they can eat. They really like shrimps. Oh, and they're swimming right past a little sponge that's sticking out of a cave. That was cool. So this must be a bit deeper now. Can you see how it's got much bluer? So there's not as much bright light at the moment. The sunlight is being taken away by the sea. And so when you go down, it gets darker and it gets bluer. And that's why you don't tend to get as many corals down deep, because they want the sunlight. So Josh is now coming back towards the top of the reef, and we're finding more corals again. Look at this. So can anyone recognize the coral that's right in front of us? That's right, that's a brain coral. So here we've got a brain coral. We've got some blue chromis, which are another kind of fish swimming around, grabbing at any plankton. And look at that crazy little fish there. So this is a trunkfish, a kind of boxfish, and they have beautiful colors. They're like mini submarines, and they swim around picking away at any shrimps that they can see living in the seaweeds. And next to him we've got a beautiful butterfly fish as well. Oh, those are stunning fish, both of them. Such amazing colors in the fish that we see on a coral reef. I wonder what that trunkfish has found. He's definitely hovering, waiting to pounce. Looks like it's a little shrimp that he's chased into a hole, into a cave, hoping that that shrimp comes out ready for the trunkfish to have its breakfast. Josh is having a great dive here. I think he likes this fish too. I wonder if he's going to come back over the top of the reef soon. We'll see what he can find. But he really does like this fish. He must be hoping that that fish catches his breakfast. Have you ever seen a fish that looks like that? Isn't it a crazy looking fish with all the little black and white spots and the yellow stripes. Now Josh is swimming right over the top of the brain coral. And that is beautiful brain coral. Can you see all the grooves? All those tiny grooves in the way that the coral grows. And that coral is probably older than your grandparents, older than your mum and dad, older than your teachers. These corals grow very slowly underground, gradually getting bigger and bigger. Now, where's Josh taking us now? We're going along the wall. We're swimming past, we've got some more sponges, those yellow sponges. And then we're going to go round. He's found another cave. I wonder if he's found something else exciting inside the cave. That's a really good place to look for animals when you're diving, because lots of animals like to stay hiding away in the caves where it's nice and safe. And then at night time, if you go diving at night time, lots of different animals come out of the cave. They spend the day in the cave and come out at night to swim all over the reef. So like a bat might come out of a cave on land, we've got fish that come out of caves at night. Now Josh is taking us down a bit deeper down the side of the reef here. We just went past a sponge, but has he found something else here? Aha, look at this. What is this fish? No, that's not a lionfish. It's got some interesting spines sticking up. But this is a hogfish. This is a very big hogfish. And I wonder what Josh is going to find. As he goes deeper, you start to see bigger fish living down in the deep. That's a lovely looking fish. So let's see where we're going now. We're heading down into the deeper water where you start to get much bigger sponges growing. And look, here we've got a barrel sponge, like a big tube sponge, but it's almost formed into a barrel shape, and it's got lots of fish living in it. Now, do you remember that I said that those yellow fish are really important because they clean all the other fish that live on the reef? So this will be a place that lots of fish come during the day. Like we have to go to the dentist sometimes. Fish love to come here and get all of the little things that live on their skin picked off, so they can be nice and clean and nice and healthy. So this is a cleaning station inside a sponge. Wow. Does anyone here like going to the dentist? No. Well, what we know now is that fish really love going to the cleaning station. It's a really important for their health because it means that they don't have things living on them, little shrimps and things, but it also means that their stress goes down. They just have a nice relaxing time while they're at the cleaning station. Now Josh has taken us a bit further down the reef here. We're going past some corals, but can you see that amazing looking fish just sitting there perfectly still with its big spines? Can you remember what that fish is called with the big spines? Oh, there's two of them. That's right, that's the lionfish. And we've got two lionfish here sitting together, either waiting for something to swim past that they can gobble up, or maybe just waiting for the night time. They like to go hunting for food at night. So they just spend all of their daytime sitting there in the deep water. They are absolutely beautiful. Wow, and to find two of them together, that's really amazing. It's quite often you only find one living under a ledge or in a cave, and now Josh has found two of them together. Now is Josh is starting to come back up towards us now, because can you see that it's got much lighter? It looks much more green and yellow rather than dark and blue. And that's because we're up into the shallow water where the sunlight is coming down through the water. And what's Josh found here? That is a absolutely amazing coral. It's enormous. If you look at the fish next to it, that coral is about the size of a car. And it's called, can you remember Jamie said that there are corals that grow in different shapes and sizes, and this one is called an Elk Horn Coral. Now an elk is a bit like a reindeer. You must be getting excited about Christmas, are you? So the reindeer, you know, have those big antlers, the big horns on their heads, and so do elks, and the corals grow in the same way. And what that means is that the coral can grow outwards, so it only has a very small base at the bottom where it's attached to the seabed, but then it can grow outwards with lots of layers of coral that can catch the sunlight. And the more sunlight they catch, the more food they get from all the plants that live inside them. And look, as Josh has found his buddy swimming around the other side of the Elkhorn as well. So that's nice. Can you see there's a few fish swimming in amongst the Elkhorn? These big corals make a house for lots of other animals that live inside them. So corals are really amazing things because they build the environment. They build the city that lots of other animals live in. Wow, what an amazing dive.
Absolutely amazing. Steve, thank you so much for talking through that. It took a little bit longer for Josh to find all the different things for you to spot. Have you got them all ticked off on your sheet? If you do have to go, we completely understand, but what we're going to do is, as Josh comes back, we will answer the questions that you have put through on the question app or that you have asked before the lesson. So don't worry if you have to go now. Thank you so much for being part of it, and big thank you to Josh. If you do stay, you can shout thank you from wherever you are. Steve, the first question that we have is from Sheer Hats Primary School, and it's asking, how do fish breathe underwater?
Wow, what a great question, because fish don't have a tank on their back.
No.
They don't have a mouthpiece. So fish are amazing. They can swim along through the water, and as they open their mouth, the water comes into their mouth, and then they have these special big flaps on the side of their cheeks.
Okay.
And inside those flaps are things called gills. And the gills can catch all the oxygen that's in the water. So like in our lungs, when we breathe in, we can get the oxygen that we need to breathe. The fish can get it from their gills, and then all the water washes out. So every time they open their mouth, they're breathing.
They're breathing, and oxygen is part of the air that we breathe and part of the air that's dissolved.
That's
or
right,
is
it's
part
all
of
in
the water.
yeah.
Amazing. Josh, hi.
Ah, Josh, he's back.
Hey!
Well done, Josh.
Oh, amazing!
What a dive.
What a dive. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. What an amazing world it is out there. Some really cool fish. Saw lots of great things out there.
Yeah. That some of the big sponges that you saw were really stunning, weren't they? And the Elkhorn on the top.
Yeah, just like the deer's antlers, that Elkhorn is amazing, that coral.
Very good.
And so the next question we have, and maybe Josh, you can answer this. What's the coolest animal you've seen on the coral reef?
Oh, what a great question. And I think it's got to be the green turtle. They're amazing the way they sit on the bottom of the reef, and as you glide over them, they swim with you, and you can have a little dance with them in the ocean. They're just such amazing creatures.
Fantastic. We have just 2 more questions that we have time for today. And the first is from Emmeline, and she is an Attenborough class at Lavender School. Hi, Emmeline. It's a really lovely question, and is, do the fish eat the coral?
Ah, that is a great question, Emmeline. So some of the fish do eat coral. Do you remember on Josh's dive we saw a butterfly fish? Butterfly fish eat the coral, particularly if the coral is a little bit poorly. So actually they keep the coral really healthy. So yes, some of the fish definitely do eat corals. That's a really brilliant question.
And the last question we have time for today is an amazing question from Western Mill Primary, and that is, are there coral reefs in the UK?
Oh, back at home. So we don't have any coral reefs like Josh saw. We don't have any warm water, which really is what the corals need to be able to grow. But we do have corals that live in the deep ocean.
Okay.
So if you go to Cornwall, or if you go out to Ireland, and then you keep going, the water gets deeper and deeper and colder and colder. And once you get down to, it's about 500 meters, so a really long way, as long as your whole playground, and probably as half of your walk home as well, that deep, then you start to see very slow growing corals that live in the UK.
Steve and Josh, thank you so much for being part of this Coral Adventure live lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it too. We've looked at dive science. Your dancing was fab. We looked at some of the kit that you need to explore underwater. And thank you, Josh, for filming. And thank you, Steve, for telling us more about all the different animals we can see in the sea. Thank you again, but for now, it's goodbye from us and goodbye from Curacao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.